But where we are at the moment is at this wonderful nursery called Eumundi Palms, and we've got the founder of the nursery with us here today, Phil, and I'm very grateful that Phil's decided to sort of share his experience.
Graeme, our potting media is a third world, waste product.
Yeah.
It's coconut fibre.
Yeah, cocoa
from a palm tree.
Yeah.
In some regards, this started off a bit of a gimmick for me because I wanted to grow a palm in a palm. So we grew coconuts in coconut.
Yeah.
So, and then we just started discovering this magical thing. This product has an oil in it, which is a natural fungicide.
Yeah.
Our hands feel like we're using lanolin all the time because of the coconut fibre.
Okay.
People ask us, what do we mix it with? We don't.
Yeah, it's just
pure coconut fibre.
Yeah, that's good.
We have our additives.
Yeah.
In most cases, we have our nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium
slow
going
release.
on. Our slow releases. Yeah. We try to be fussy and you can get slow release that are inoculated in rice husk, as you were saying before, rather than a synthetic, chemically derived one. So we can focus and do a better job. All of us can.
Yes, and one of the things about the cocopeat that perhaps we haven't shared with you, but it sounds like you don't need it with looking at these plants because they're doing so well, but this is the fact that Trichoderma loves cocopeat.
Is that right?
So it's this lovely fibrous material that it actually thrives in, particularly if there's a bit of silica and things in there as well. And you're feeding it the kind of things you're feeding it because it loves all of those kind of humates, and kelp, it loves kelp particularly. So Trichoderma, of course, is this wonderful organism that protects from 32 different diseases, but it also stimulates root growth, which is exactly what you need in a cocopeat meat. So we had a large nursery client in Victoria who had an opportunity to sell in Japan, but they couldn't get away from a series of fungicides, and the Japanese wanted chemical-free. So there are actually big buyers that want that. And they couldn't get in because they relied upon this systemic fungicide they were putting in the potting mix. And we suggested Trichoderma, and it was just a complete success story. It actually took care of their disease, and it got them into Japan, which was a really big deal for them.
We do have a problem with the coconut fibre. It is so moisture retentive that we use 1/3 of the water. There's a massive positive, and some will say, but we've got lots of water. And it's a commodity we all need to respect more.
Yes, we do, for sure.
And you still need to use equipment to deliver that water. So 1/3 of the water, however, it's almost too moisture retentive.
Yeah.
So we do need something to assist us with the bacteria that do develop in that wet media when it's cold.
Yeah. And Trichoderma quite likes that moisture, so that would be an idea.
I'm using it as a rescue product.
Yeah.
When I have issues with bacteria, with fungicides.
Well, if you just fertigate it once, you don't have to do it lots of times.
Bad bacteria.
Yeah, if you put the Trichoderma into fertigation, then it'll just take off and do its own thing. You don't have to keep on reapplying it. It's not like a chemical you got to put out there every month. It will thrive in that scenario, and you'll have bigger roots and you'll have more resistance and so forth.
In my fertigation.
Yeah, and the fertigation's the store.
And of course, fertigation is something that everybody says, I don't have a substantial system for fertigation. Everyone has a tank.
Yeah.
If you're not drinking from that tank, pour it into your tank. Add it to your tank at the right rate. Yeah. Agitate it by simply rotating the water in the tank, and then you can deliver it.
Yeah, that's the best way to do everything. That's the most hands-on scenario. So just on that cell strength thing, because obviously it's a huge part of it, it's a two-part story. So you've covered the silica side. How do you address the calcium? Because it's calcium and silica equally important for cell strength.
Well, you've got a lot of products with calcium in it.
Yes, we have.
And it's very important to us. Palm trees are a monocot, like grass, and they need more calcium than the average plant.
Okay.
And that's where the boron concern that I have comes in too. Palms are a gross feeder, and they really need that boron.
Yeah, they are.
But Silica B.
Yeah, Silica B, yeah.
And many products that you have.
I think you're using Trio, aren't you?
We're using Trio.
So Trio is a good option. So this is
phenomenal product.
Calcium, magnesium, and boron.
It has a negative that we can't mix it with some products.
Yes.
But that's okay. So you're delivering it in one
all
delivery.
calcium products have got that issue, unfortunately, that they all of the common things
They coagulate.
they actually form calcium phosphate, calcium, calcium sulfate. They're insoluble, so you've got to use calcium by itself. You can put, kelp and fulvic and all those things, but you can put sea change. You're using sea change KWF, aren't
Yes,
you?
yeah.
Yeah, so that's a wonderful combination of fish, kelp and fulvic acid. So that's sort of a constant ongoing food because there's going to be biology.
My first ever product from you.
Was it really?
Yeah, actually, your liquid, your black gold.
Okay, yeah.
We've sort of moved a bit away from that because of our practices and that we have to produce a product in a pot.
Yeah.
Which is a little lighter.
Yeah, and so then you're using kind of a broad spectrum things in your foliar program like 10, which is sort of covering everything except the calcium side. So you've really covered every base, and you just look around you and you just see these healthy plants that have got every base covered. It's wonderful. Have you discovered?
They're beautiful, aren't they?
They are beautiful. You can't deny it. It's amazing. Have you discovered BAM, for example?
Yeah, we're using BAM, and we're using a product that you refer to as MAD as well.
Oh, you started with MAD?
Yeah, we've started with MAD.
Cool.
For us, I think it's a new product for you.
Yes, it is. I'm really excited with it. So the short story on MAD, micro amino drive. So we're talking about amino acids, basically driving everything in a plant. I mean, there's nothing that doesn't have an amino acid base. Every enzymic reaction is driven by an amino acid. So it's like really, really important for overall plant health, including photosynthesis, which is driven by amino acids, amongst other things. So the normal size of all of the liquid and soluble powdered amino acids the size of them is called kilodaltons, or KDA, and they're 128 is the average size of everything on the market. And we found this technique to take bacteria that break down wood chip, and they use the cellulose and hemicellulose, and they create this ridiculously small thing that they spit out, this tiny blend of amino acids that's only 5 kilodaltons, so it's 28 times smaller. So it just means it just goes in so ridiculously easy. And one of my scientists, Fred, he's from Iran, he has done some of the trial work with MAD, and he said, oh my goodness, I've not seen this. It's like the plants are singing. Well, these plants look like they're singing. It's a wonderful health boost that you get, but that's just the start of it. Because it's so small, you can put anything with it. So if you want to magnify the uptake of anything, you put a bit of MAD with it, and it carries it in because it's a chelating agent. And it carries it in because it's so tiny, it just smuggles it in so much more efficiently. So it's a wonderful, and I didn't know you were using that. I'm really excited about that.
Oh yeah, we're really excited. I mean, I suppose the proof again will be in the pudding in the next few months, and it's a different time of the year, being cold. As we warm up, I believe the benefits will be greater.
Yeah, they will. So have you exported yourself?
We've been exporting for quite some years.
Oh, yeah.
We've sent palms to the Singapore Gardens by the Bay.
Oh, have you? Amazing.
There's been a couple of developments through China.
Yeah.
And recently Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing to be sending plants.
Well, I think you said you sent 11 containers.
11 full-size shipping containers.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it was great. It was, sadly, there's a little skirmish going on within that region that hopefully will settle soon, and maybe we can return back to some normality.
So was it linked to the delivery via the Red Sea?
Yeah, the Red Sea's been an issue for us. That's the port of entry for us, and hopefully that'll be cleared up soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. I feel pretty positive about that.
Yeah, that's really good. And so what have you found with, I mean, you've obviously got this passion, but I don't see many nursery people doing this.
Sadly, there's this fear.
Yeah.
My whole industry, including the governing bodies of the industry, are still pushing chemicals and expectations, and they're not brave.
Yeah.
I think it takes a bit of bravery. It takes some common sense. Maybe I have a little bit more than I realised.
Yeah.
But it also takes this desire for the people that work with you every day to be safe, to handle these products.
Yeah, I know, it's a massive thing.
For me, it's mind-blowing that people will still use chemicals, seeing as we have an alternative. And it gives me great pride to be a part of your program, to be able to say to you that these plants are chemical-free.
You could actually probably certify organic if you wanted to.
We could certify organic, but thanks to your comments once, I'm not interested. We just simply are organic.
Yeah, it's the same with my farm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could be certified.
I'm not trying to get awards here. I'm not trying to be clever. I'm trying to do the right thing by mankind, by all of us.
Yeah.
And if I can have an effect, for example, my children are very involved in the business.
Good.
My eldest daughter and my youngest daughter.
Good, that's great.
And
How old are
they? Taylor's 30. She runs the nursery these days.
Good.
And Lucy's 22. And the two of them are involved because of my practices.
And I met your offsider who joined for the same. He's been 10 years with you.
Yep, 10 years.
What's his name?
Nathan's been 10 years. Jace has been 10 years. You met him earlier. He was the one. He had a mask on while he was spraying, and it's always been a difficult one for me to evidence people. But we wear a mask because of the sheer concentration of our product.
Yeah.
We're delivering a lot of it.
Well, when you're spraying microbes, I mean, people don't realise you're not really supposed to suck back.
We're not made to be consuming these products through our major organ.
Through your lungs as well. I mean, you're not really supposed to breathe. I always suggest that with people will set up their microbe brewing, particularly the aerobic brewers, in an enclosed environment, and the off-gas, the bubbles have all got the microbes in them, and you're putting your head over and having a sniff, and there's a question mark. People don't seem to get sick, but there's a risk factor I consider that you're not supposed to have 100 billion.
I'm going to proudly say to you, Graeme, that all these people that are working with me now, my staff don't go. We don't have a turnover of staff.
That's wonderful.
They're simply in love with the outdoors. They love the plants. They love what they do, but they're very proud of the fact we don't use chemicals.
Yeah, as
that has made it very easy to keep staff.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's the future. Yeah. Our children, the next generation, are demanding more from us.
Yeah.
And we have to listen to them, don't we?
I agree. Well, I mean, it's wonderful that you got your children involved. I mean, it's the ultimate dream to have them come in on something so worthwhile. I mean, proud of you, mate.
Thank you. And thank you so much for your magnificent direction and your product. There is a little difficulty bridging between the knowledge and the everyday user.
Yeah.
And I believe that bridge is getting closer. And
well, from your perspective, just to simplify it for people, so we talk about minerals, microbes and humus, and your humus is this wonderful thing called cocopeat, which if you've got trichoderma and some of the bugs you're pouring in there is actually converting to humus. It's actually underway as we speak. So you've got the humus side covered, and it's the good water retention and the other benefits of that. And you've got, of course, the silica, the diatomaceous earth in there, and then you're fertigating and foliar spraying, and you're covering every base. You're taking that first step, which is how do you create a resilient plant? You strengthen the cell wall and you boost the plant immunity, and you're using all of the tools that do that with the kelps and the humates and of course the silica, which is a massive immune elicitor. And you've got like 3 or 4 different forms of silica coming in, including Tsunami, the spreader that's silica based that can be absorbed. And so you're getting insecticidal effects from that as well. So and then you've taken care of something like triple 10 in your foliar, which is everything except calcium, and you're taking care of calcium and magnesium by a trio, which is calcium, magnesium and boron. So, and then you're doing all the soil food feeding and plant feeding with things like the sea change KFF, the kelp, fulvic and fish. I mean, you sort of cover, and then you're brewing the organisms, so you've got all these, you've covered every base, and it's not that
pretty
hard.
much. We're still learning how to move away slowly, and it's one of the scariest things is how to move away from the fertilizers we add every day to our potting media.
Yeah.
How to reduce the amount of those and trust that we're still going to be able to deliver.
I suggest you do some trial, and I'll even give you some bags to trial, but I suggest you try Life Force Gold, which is like a slow release NPK that we use in our potting mix at 5%. Just trial it and compare it cost-wise and so forth and see if it's going to be viable, but that would be the last step.
It's not only cost-wise.
But that's organically certified and it works
it's
really, really well.
It's immune system.
Yeah, well, you'll see. I mean, we've got everything. We've got selenium, we've got all cobalt, molybdenum, everything's in that fertilizer. And it's in a granule, and it slow releases, so it could really be an option for you.
I mean, we're using half the fertilizers that a lot of other nurseries or our friends use.
Yeah.
But we're still using things like gypsum.
Yeah.
Which is a natural product.
Yeah,
we're using dolomite.
And you put them in the potting mix.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, we've got to do things like stop our pH from bouncing. pH is a big deal in my game.
Yeah, there's an all games,
In most games, most plants.
Why do you try and keep the pH at?
Well, we want to keep the plants, for us, to a pH that's alkaline.
Yeah.
All your organic, your humate is going to become acid So we've got to stop the bounce, but we also want to draw it back to being a pH that's a little over 7.
Okay.
If I can sit at 7.3, 7.4, 7.5, I'm pretty happy.
That's the figure for palms.
Yeah, that's for palms. Some palms like it acid.
Yeah.
Those that live in a rainforest like it acid. Those that live on volcanic or coral or sandy soils, which is the majority of palms because they're coastal plants, they like it on the alkaline side. Yeah.
Right, so we'll have a little bit of a walk around, but so look at them. I mean, there's not an insect bite. I mean, insects are keen on palms normally, aren't they?
Yeah. This particular plant is a ginger.
Yeah.
This is an alpinia that is susceptible to many things, spider mite, being chewed. I mean, it's very palatable.
Yeah.
It does, I'm not sure if you've smelt these leaves before, but if you take that leaf and you squash that up, have a good smell of that. You love the smell of ginger?
Nice, isn't it?
It's fantastic,
I grow ginger, it's my favourite crop.
False cardamom or dwarf false cardamom. So it's like cardamom, but it's not. It's an alpinia.
That's really nice.
Yeah. I mean, one of the palms that gave me the passion for all this as a child was this palm from New Caledonia.
Okay.
This is called Chamberonia macrocarpa.
Yeah.
Isn't that an amazing wide leaf?
Yeah, that's
It's a
beautiful.
fantastic leaf, but in amongst them you'll see red leaves,
Yeah.
and they have the inability to produce chlorophyll. And so what they do, they produce that red leaf.
Oh, I see.
So it's a fantastic thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
This one is Chamberonia hookeri. There's essentially macrocarpa variety hookeri. There's essentially 2 types from New Caledonia.
Okay.
It's a funny place, New Caledonia. It's all volcanic.
It is unbelievable. People don't realise. There's some really nice produce comes out of those
Phenomenal
volcanic soils.
place.
It's like New Guinea in terms of people don't realise, like the coffee from New Guinea, really it's like the best coffee you've ever tasted because it's got in that beautiful volcanic soil.
Pretty lucky it's part of the
oil
world.
from New Guinea is the best coconut oil.
Okay.
So New Caledonia, the same kind of volcanic base,
Yeah. And only 2 hours flight from Brisbane.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
incredible. I always find that one amazing. So the industry calls it Licuala elegans. I believe it's elegant, but it does have this, I mean, obviously it's not exactly the greatest palm for a windy location, but we have an Australian version.
Yeah.
This is Licuala ramsii. Licuala ramsii, it's native from about Mission Beach through to Cape York.
Okay.
And it is the emblem.
Oh, that's the emblem.
Yeah.
So this is the Mission Beach palm.
Mission Beach palm or North Queensland fan palm. That's what I prefer to call it. Mission Beach is a magical place, but it is found all throughout the Daintree.
Okay.
Yeah, so
lovely.
In fact, there's probably more in the Daintree than anywhere in else. But it's Australian, it's endemic to Queensland only. Yeah, it's pretty special.
That's cool. That's really nice. And
great.
that's why you chose to make it the logo.
Yeah. Just a childhood dream. This palm probably is one of my dreams that I felt that I couldn't grow well here.
Yeah.
We can get them to survive, but we can't get them to thrive.
Because they're full on tropical.
Yeah, because they're so tropical.
Yeah.
And then I learnt the benefits of kelp.
Yeah.
So this antifreeze.
Yeah.
And the ability to keep the capillaries and the sugar moving.
Yeah.
And now that we can do that with these wonderful products, including Silica, then we've got this strong product that's, we just had 9 straight days under 10 degrees.
Yeah.
I don't recall having that here.
That's cold,
For me, horticultural nightmare.
Yeah.
The plants will just burn. But even out there in the full sun, they're strong.
Yeah, that's good.
I've never had a better season. I can't believe how great these plants are because
they're looking fantastic.
they're full of natural ingredients.
Yeah.
And their immune system's looked after, Graeme.
Yeah.
This is special. This is a beetle nut.
Oh,
You know, the
really?
pa-
Yeah,
yeah.
the peanut that they chew on.
They chew the fruit on the outside of the seed.
Yeah, they've all got the black teeth.
And it won't grow here,
Okay.
apparently. That's a pretty healthy plant, isn't it?
Yeah, that's good.
Healthy plant because its immune system's strong and it's full of kelp.
Got some
Yeah,
bird
this
life.
is
Got a whole bunch of bird life over there.
6 metres deep.
Wow. Has it got a liner?
No,
Oh,
just terrible clay. Clay's fantastic when you want to hold water, isn't it?
yeah.
So this is 10.1 million litres.
That's good.
That'll do us in this high rainfall. We won't require any more water than that.
No, that's perfect.
However, we also cater for, we can send this to Tasmania, Canberra.
Yeah.
So this is Shamrock's humilis European fan palm.
Okay.
So this is very desirable, very slow growing palm that we sell into Melbourne and Sydney.
How old would that be?
From seed, that would be about 6 years old.
Oh, wow.
So they're slow.
Yeah.
However, if we were to do this in Sydney, for example, they'd be 10 years to get to that size.
Okay.
From seed, not from seedling, from seed.
Yeah.
This is the biggest range of rare palms of any wholesale nursery in Australia by far, because no fool's interested in doing it anymore.
Okay.
I mean, I collected seeds of these 10 years ago. So this came from New Caledonia via Hawaii to me 10 years ago.
Okay.
You grow it on, and then you sell them for $450 each.
And do you collect your own seed from them as well?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
So
well, I will eventually.
Yeah.
In fact, at the office, there's a 10-year-old one that I'll start being able to collect seed from. There's a big difference between these things in the ground and in a pot.
Yeah.
Some things do well in the pot.
Yeah.
Some things are much better off in the ground where they can establish.
Yeah, which makes sense.
But, yeah, we go the whole journey. This is a collector's palm. We'd be the only grower of this in Australia.
Fantastic.
Of any numbers, but it's part of the passion.
Yeah, that's great.
You don't do things because of money. You didn't.
No, it's just.
All of
I mean,
this
it's for me. It's you know, I don't care if you're digging a drain. You do it with passion, because it's all, you've got a short life if you can't be passionate. I say to farmers, if you're not passionate about your farm, if you're not getting up in the morning saying, I'm into this, sell your farm and do what makes you passionate, because it's over. Your life's over in no time.
That's right.
You've got to follow
life's
passion.
short.
And here's a man that follows the passion.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for helping me with my passion.
Thanks for coming along. And I know you've got to go and pick up your wife now, but yeah, thanks so much for letting us come along and have a chat.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share with you. And if you ever wanted to do it again, I'd